Hey guys, it's yours truly, InterviewClues here, and welcome back to another episode of InterviewClues, the series where I interview some peeps from the interwebs and talk about the hobbies and what they like to do. So for today's interview, it's actually going to live up to its name today, the series' name today, because I have someone in the Blues Clues community, you know, with the blue puppy and the poplin, in case those who haven't seen it like years. That would be this guy's walking by. He's also I'm not sure what his status is on YouTube, but he is a YouTube pal of mine as well. So why don't you say hi and talk a little bit about yourself, dude?
What's up, Music Clues? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Hey, my name's Dave McConnell, aka ThatGuyWalkingBy, aka GamerGuy624, aka just Dave off of Bloomer Productions, who voices Mailbox, Joe, Mr. Salt, Dave the Mailman, you know, the whole 9 yards. It's great, and honestly, it's an honor to be here because I'm talking about something that I love, Blues Clues. That's like, Blues Clues has had such a big effect on my life, and I'm sure you'll hear that a little while later. It's gotten me to start being interested in like filmmaking and television, graphic design, you know, the whole art aspect of like media and such alike. So here I am now, loving Blues Clues, haven't grown out of it yet. And I'm thanking that show for getting me interested into the things that I love, which are TV, video games, you know, art, the love of media, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, indeed. Blues Clues had a big impact on my life, as you guys probably already know at this point. What were you gonna say, dude?
I was just laughing because I think Blues Clues has had an effect at least on everybody's life.
That's true.
But again, we'll get to that a little later, I'm sure.
Yep, I'm pretty sure. So, my first question is for you. So, why did you start doing YouTube in the first place?
Originally, it was just like an off-the-cuff thing that I wanted to kind of delve into a little bit. Of course, this was back in 2009 when I was like 11. So, 11-year-old me is just thinking, oh, I can make videos and comment on other people's videos and just such and the like. All right, I'll do that. But what do I make videos of? Hey, I have VHS tapes here. I have video games here. Let's start off with that. And back in 2009, as D McConnell 97, I kind of started my YouTube off a little bit on the rough side. I didn't give out my personal identity until right around 2013 or so, because I kind of wanted to brand myself as, a guy who just cares about nostalgia. But it didn't really work out for me over the last 3 years of that whole phase, to the point where in 2013, the beginning of 2013, I rebranded myself as That Guy Walking By, because I just wanted to make short films. I was more interested in that than I was nostalgia at the time. So for the time, I just made short films, made little periodic references to my nostalgia, you know, watching Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., shows like Blues Clues, the Muppet Babies, the whole shenanigan there from the 90s. Just making occasional references here and there to like retro video games too. And I think one more point that I want to talk about is the fact that I started my journey into digitizing my VHS tapes, my very big collection of recorded VHS tapes, into digital files, because as you probably have figured out over the last few years, film degrades rapidly. I haven't had any problems with that at all recently. However, I wanted to finalize the memories that I have with my childhood VHS tapes before anything did happen. So back in 2016, I decided to digitize the one prized possession VHS tape that I have, which you all probably know is the Nick Jr. tape from April 21st, 1998. Yes, we did find a date for that. Thanks, Nick Story. And over the years, I've digitized pretty much all my tapes at this point with every piece of equipment that you can imagine. And that's when GamerGuy624 kind of got its identity back in 2019, 2020 was when I started posting, commercial breaks videos from the tapes I had. I continued and basically made the final Muppet Babies Go Bye-Bye segment collection back in 2019. I plan on revising that, by the way. And Blues Clues and You came out, reaction videos were made, how to draw videos were made, that sort of thing. So yeah, like I said, essentially Blues Clues has had an effect on my entire YouTube career, without me knowing it. It's crazy.
It really is crazy. It really is. I mean, from the start, personally, real quick as well, guys, Blues Clues has had an impact on me since I was a kid. Of course, back in the days, I was known as Clue Man rather than Music Clues, and I didn't really start using that one until like maybe 2014, I believe, when I started to really show my love of Blues Clues, and then ever since then I've had the poplin in my logo until nowadays you see blue and the poplin in my logo. So it's really just been a long road for me as well with Blues Clues. So Blues Clues has had an impact on my career as well, pretty much from the start, without me knowing it a little bit, but I wasn't afraid to show my true love for this show because I love it. I really do. Yeah. So, another question is, speaking of Blues Clues, how'd you become a fan of the show?
TLDR, because this whole story is going to take way longer than 30 minutes. So TLDR, of course, every kid at around 6 months of age gets more interested into television, like bright colors, great sounding music, overall comedy, basically, as well. Blues Clues, along with most other Nick Jr. shows at the time, had all of that, and it's never really gotten away from me. I just love Blues Clues. At 6 months old, my mom and dad recorded a bunch of VHS tapes for me, which I still have to this day, and over the years, more VHS tapes, more VHS tapes, more VHS tapes. I just kept watching Blues Clues. I loved Blues Clues so much as a kid, and now with the reboot coming out and recording that on the DVR, it's kind of bringing back memories to the time where my parents would record VHS tapes for me. And now that I have a son as well who's going to be getting into Blues Clues, hopefully, crossing fingers, crossing paw printed toes rather, we're hopefully going to see that cycle come back upon itself as well. And that, honestly, that makes me feel 100% great, because Blues Clues and the reboot are having great effects on people, and I just love how what would you call the planet that they made in Pajama Party with Blue?
Good point.
I just love how that went full circle, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Same. Yeah, I would definitely say I hope he gets into your son gets into Blues Clues too as well. Well, because it really is one of my favorite shows of all time, if not my favorite show of all time. Fun fact, by the way, I was actually born in the same year as Blues Clues. So I'm also 25 this year. In addition to Blues Clues is celebrating its 25th anniversary.
Nice. I was born in 1997, June 24th, as a matter of fact. So by the time I would have gotten into Blues Clues, it would have been December 1997, right around the turn of the year there.
Wow. Sheesh. Man, you were actually born in the same year as my best friend and my fellow media maniac, Ethan N. So, wow. Things are definitely gotta say we were born pretty close to pretty much Nickelodeon's, in my opinion, early days of Nick Jr. But
Nickelodeon's golden years for sure, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely the golden years. So speaking of which, for those who don't know what Blues Clues is, since we're talking all about this, I guess we should probably explain real quickly what it is, and you can chime in, this guy walking by, if you need to. So basically, Blues Clues is a kid's show where Blue, the tubular protagonist, pop a picture here up on screen. I know, she's cute. She leaves clues for us, the viewers, and depending on the host, it would either be Steve, her original owner, Joe, Steve's brother, or Josh in the Vboot, their cousin. And it's up to us.
Any of the international versions. Sorry to interrupt. Kevin from the UK, Dwight from Portugal, or Uncle Wow from Korea.
Ah, thank you for that extra bit of information, my friend. And it's up to us to find the clues. Of course, I mean, I know it's part of the show, but unfortunately all the hosts have trouble finding the clues, so we have to point out the clues with help from an in-game, in-show audience, of course, that says, a clue, and help them find the clues. Of course, there's other segments, but that's the basic premise of how the show goes. And ever since then, it's really just been super engaging. It really is one of the very first interactive kids shows that I think that really started to take off, because it's influenced a lot of other shows across the journey, like Doors interacted, let me see, Go is like that. Even the Wonder Pets, a show that was mainly just for kids, did a whole episode with the fans interacting with them and helping them on a rescue mission. So I dare say Blue's Clues has impacted pretty much all of Nick Jr.'s kid shows at one point or the other, in my opinion.
I gotta say, the fact that the dude's just gallivanting around the house in embarrassingly pleated pants, a green striped rugby shirt, just screaming like Grover at the fact that he's getting a bill, it's just fantastic.
It really is.
Thank you, Steve Burns from The Moth, for that one.
Yep. Now my next question is, what do you think of the Vboot so far? Give me your positives and your negatives, and be honest.
Positives about the reboot, I've gotta say, the original stories are fantastic, and I really wish that we would have seen some of these in the original series. Like Filipino culture, I love how they're trying to incorporate that now, because Josh Dela Cruz, the new host, is Filipino American, and the actress for Lola, I can't remember her name, Josh's grandma, not really Josh's grandma, but you get what I mean. She's a Filipino American actress as well. And she's an advocate for several other things as well. Again, can't remember off the top of my head what exactly she's an advocate for. But the fact that they're incorporating, Filipino culture, the fact that they're incorporating LGBTQ plus rights, as a matter of fact, as well, that's a big thing that's been happening lately. The fact that they're incorporating that into the show is fantastic. Some of the other original stories too, like for instance, in an upcoming episode, actually 2 upcoming episodes, I'm going to give them alternate titles because I don't want to give their exact titles away for those who haven't seen the episodes yet, outside of the UK, who has seen the episodes as of recently. Sleeping Magenta is actually the plot of one episode, Blue Makes a Movie with You. Blue and Josh make a movie, basically, and Magenta is the subject, but she's sleeping. So how are they going to wake Magenta up, right? That's a plot that I would have liked to see in the original series. Happy Birthday You is It's Your Birthday, I think the actual title is. We've seen Blue's birthday. We've seen Joe's birthday. We haven't seen a viewer birthday episode. We've seen Mailbox's birthday even. I almost forgot about that. We've even seen Mailbox's birthday, but we haven't seen a birthday episode directed toward the viewer. I kind of feel like the episode's going to be like one of those, I can't remember what the company was called, but they basically kind of did what Pick Me did back in the day, if you remember Pick Me, was they cut out a picture of the kid, put it on an animated poster, and exclusively incorporated that kid into the show. I think there was a Barney video with it, there was a Dara video with it, and of course each titular character said the kid's name multiple times throughout the show. I really wish Blue's Clues originally would have done something like that with maybe Joe as like the final episode of the show or whatever. But unfortunately they didn't. So And the fact that season 1 actually established the plot for newer kids who are watching the show, who were born past 2006 when the show ended, or born past 2019 when the show stopped running on Nick Jr. channel. They actually got a taste of what Blue's Clues was like in that newer 3D sense. You know what I mean? That's fantastic. The fact that Angela and Tracy wanted to give that storyline establishment, and to see where Joe and Blue are now with their relationships, 24 years later, with Steve being a detective for a Blueprints detective agency, along with Detective Gopher, spoiler alert, and Joe being a worker at the present store, that whole thing. So they finally established the headcanon. Just a little bit more here. There's still a lot of things that need explaining in the series, but that's another video for another day.
Yeah, definitely a video for another day. We could go on. But yeah, seriously, I think that's great. You have anything that you think they could improve on?
Notebook variants, big time. The fact that the notebook variants are kind of bland just kind of gets to me, being a guy who just loves the handy-dandy notebook in general and all of its variants. I used to love the variety they used to give the notebooks, like Joe's car notebook from Blue's Big Car Trip, the birthday notebook from the birthday games and the birthday episode, Blue's birthday, the treasure hunt notebook from the titular episode, the nighttime notebook from the pajama party episode. They even revamped the notebook entirely for nature. The fact that they've done minor nitpicky things for certain episodes, like just putting a bow on the notebook and not even keeping it on the actual thing itself for the remake of the birthday episode, giving the new nature notebook just flowers and no thinking rock on the cover, that's kind of dumb, let's be honest. And spoiler alert for the new birthday episode, we do get an official birthday notebook. It has a white birthday party hat, although I can't say for sure. I've only seen one very low quality screenshot, so I can't complain. But the fact that the notebook really has very bland variants is just a thing I'm not a fan of. Another thing I'm not a fan of is the fact that the FCC requires commercial breaks during even preschool shows now. I hate that. I really do hate that. It cuts off at least 2 minutes of the show that we could have used for, like, the Felt Friend costume game and played it with Magenta, or another... was there another game in Blue's Big Costume Party? Yes, there was. Detecting what Slippery's costume was. We could have used that. Or maybe in Blue's Big Baking Show, we could have used another couple of calls from Lola, like spoiling the answer a little bit. You know what I mean? I just hate commercial breaks during kids shows. Blue's Clues being one of them. I think that kind of ruins the charm of the fact that we're just visiting. But they do it properly, like in shows like the Mystery of the Missing Pies episode. When they cut to the first commercial break, it almost seems like it's seamless when Josh goes to sit on the dining room table questioning Mr. Salt. But it still bothers me that there's even a commercial break there in the first place. So yeah. Those are really my only two complaints that I have with the show.
Fair enough. The first one I would agree is pretty valid. I wish they had more notebook variety. I definitely agree, but I kind of feel that's partially because Nickelodeon might be on a bit of a tight budget already. And they are giving us 4 seasons, so there still is potential for even more bigger notebook variants. Who knows? They could just be teasing us with these first 2. I just feel it. But I could end up being... Yes?
Or, one more thing. Periwinkle's coming back. We all know that, right? We've all established this, right?
Yep.
So why not, leading up to the Season 3 premiere, we've already met Detective Gopher. Why not have a few shorts with Detective Steve?
Good question.
Where has Steve been, right?
I'm curious too. But they did have said that Steve is going to take a prominent role in, well, at least try to be, in the next season. So we do know that he will be a little bit more active in this next batch of episodes that we're going to receive. So we can at least expect that there. But I'm definitely curious why they haven't done that as much. Then again, Steve isn't completely involved with the show in terms of on screen. Joe is definitely helping us probably doing that more, or because Steve is probably a little bit more integrated into the episode, in the show's my opinion, and he is maybe a little bit more hesitant because he is a little bit bald on the head.
Yeah, I mean, they're both taking writing and directing roles now. I mean, Steve's wrote at least 3 episodes for season 2. Don's directed 1, maybe 2.
Indeed.
So they're taking more credit behind the scenes than they are on camera.
Yeah, indeed. But they are gonna be appearing, it seems like, in this 3rd season more. So I hope we get to see them more. Both Steve and Joe, but mostly Steve. But as for your second complaint, yes, I would agree. I mean, I understand things have changed. I really just recently dived back into the cartoon community back in 2015, I think. And I found out that the commercial breaks are now required across all shows kids, not just the actual cartoons, but all educational kid shows, and that really bugs me as well. Well, because they could use that extra time for not just Blue's Clues, but all their shows. But what can we do, really? It's just really how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. At least they try. What?
Sorry, one more time. I'm going to interrupt again. What's funny is that Sesame Street doesn't have commercials.
That is
not even on HBO when it's the hour-long version of the episode. Even on PBS, they don't air commercials during Sesame Street, which is weird. I don't know how Sesame Street gets away with it, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't get that either. But then again, Sesame Workshop and PBS Kids are both free public kid stations, so they don't really have to follow that rule. And that probably applies. Yeah, that probably applies to all their kid shows as well, which is kind of a sucky, but oh well. I guess that's what Nickelodeon gets for being one of the premier package channels. Then, oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of Sesame Street and other shows, are there any other shows that have influenced you growing up?
Oh yes, plenty. Sesame Street for sure. Specifically one episode that I remember vividly watching as a kid. During Hurricane Katrina, they reran for 3 weeks. Well, not 3 weeks necessarily. Yeah, 3 weeks, I remember, because that whole tragedy went on for 3 weeks. They reran for 3 days each week for 3 weeks the entire Hurricane Andrew plot line of Sesame Street. You know, where Hurricane happens on Sesame Street. They reran that entire plot line for 3 weeks. That episode saga is personally my favorite of the series, but I do love Sesame Street otherwise as well. I just love Muppets in general. Speaking of Muppets, other shows that I love from the Muppets, Jim Henson's Muppet Babies being one of them. I can't say not the reboot because I haven't watched too much of it, but I'm not a fan of the reboot, let's be honest. Bear in the Big Blue House is another one too. Noah McNeil's performance as Bear is fantastic, and the very charming and very calming nature of the show, I feel like, kind of coincides with the way Blue's Clues is as well, because, you know, you got Steve over here, who's the calm guy, who's kind of the, you know, hey, let's go find some clues. You got Joe, who's just kind of more upbeat, but at the same time still calm. You got Josh too, but Steve and Joe. I feel like they've been influenced by Noah McNeil somehow. Another few Muppet productions that I'm a fan of that were kids show based. Not really necessarily our Muppet or Jim Henson Productions, rather Muppet Enterprises, whatever you want to call it now, to produce shows, but The Wobulous World of Dr. Seuss, both seasons. The reason I say both seasons is because, again, the Bear in the Big Blue House clause for the second season. And for the first season, I just love the stories. I just love the fact that Jim Henson Productions took the actual plot lines to the Webulous World of Dr. Seuss and kind of just wrote more onto them, if not wrote different stories entirely with just the same characters. Plus, I gotta be honest with you, the creepy, kind of dark theme that the first season had was way better than anything else we could have gotten from Jim Henson Productions. Let's be honest. No offense, Dark Crystal. No offense, Labyrinth. But Webulous World of Dr. Seuss Season 1's got you beat. Outside of that, the spin-off to Blue's Clues Blues Room also inspired me. Not necessarily Season 1, but Season 2, because of the addition of Joey Mazzarino's character, Sprinkles, and Donovan Patton being on screen as well as Joe. Another Muppet... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. You continue. You continue. It's your interview, man.
True. I think one last show, well, a few other shows have influenced me as well, in terms of, working alongside Blue's Clues in my childhood. Allegra's Window, Gullah Gullah Island, and Eureka's Castle all have a play. Simply because of their nature of Eureka's Castle being similar to Sesame Street, Allegra's Window and Gullah Gullah Island being the kind of actual preschool show-esque, shows. With a specific storyline. I mean, not to say that Eureka's Castle didn't have a storyline to it in each episode as well, but they did it a little better than the Sesame Street style of Eureka's Castle. More songs, more interactiveness between the characters, and just more problems that preschoolers would generally face. Some honorable mentions as well might be the first 3 seasons of Dora the Explorer. I can't remember which season they introduced the Starcatchers in, but part of that season too, I'm sorry. The Backyardigans, with all the musical and cultural references, because Michael Rubin did work on that show as well. Bubble Guppies, again, another show Michael Rubin worked on, aka the voice of Mailbox, if I didn't say that already.
Oh, so he worked on that one too. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, he did. No problem. And I think one more show that I might incorporate here as well. 2 more shows, actually. Both from the PBS line of programming. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which was an inspiration to Angela personally. And Reading Rainbow with LeVar Burton, who might be hosting Jeopardy soon.
Good ones. I think those are...
Yeah, I have a plethora of shows that I like.
Hey, that's no problem, man. That's honestly no problem to me either. I love those shows too. Well, a good majority of the ones you mentioned I've seen. As for the Dora one, yes, that was season 3 that they introduced that. I actually have watched every season of Dora, so I know. But yeah, I think all those are great shows. By the way, if you haven't watched Gullah Gullah Island, Eureka's Castle, or Allegra's Window, which Angela did have a part in, by the way. Terry had a part in. No, wait, yes, it's Angela. Sorry. My memory's not as sharp as it used to be. They're all on Paramount Plus. Please go watch them. This might be the only chance you get to see them officially before the service, if it ever does happen, closes. So please watch them, please. But yeah, I guess the last few questions I have to ask you are related to Blue's Clues. So, favorite host, putting you on the spot.
Ooh, can I give you a top 5?
Fine.
If I had to narrow it down to one, though, it will be Steve, but I will give you the other in ranking order as well. International and, here. It's a 3-way tie for sure between Steve, Don, and Josh. However, the other 2, I'd have to go with Kevin, higher in ranking than Duarte and Uncle Wow, simply because we don't have very many episodes of their co-productions in our plethora. So.
Gotcha. Those are some pretty good. Choices. All right. Another one. Favorite episode of Blue's Clues and Blue's Clues and Blue's Room and Blue's Clues and You so far.
Oh, easy. What is Blue Afraid of? Episode 118 from the original series. From Blue's room, I'd have to give it to a two-way tie between Meet Blue's baby brother and Sprinkles' sleepover. From the reboot, I would most definitely have to say Welcome to Blue's Bistro.
Yes. That one was just, oh, I love that one. Especially the Cheesy Pizza song.
Cheesy Pizza!
Cheesy Pizza! Oh, sorry. Guys, if you ever watch the show, I should warn you, the songs from all of these series are super catchy. So,
yeah.
Get ready to have those songs stuck in your head.
For sure.
Oh, sorry, you first.
No, you're good. For sure. Even if you don't have kids, you'll get a bunch of songs stuck in your head. One song that I've had stuck in my head for a while now from the show was the Rain song from the episode Stormy Weather.
Yes. That one is great. And the Rainbow, and personally, speaking of rain, the Rainbow song from the recent Blues Rainy Day Rainbow was also very good. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, that one too.
But yeah, all seriousness, get ready to have songs stuck in your head. Trust me. They even get ready for this. Ray Charles, one of the biggest blues members in Blues Big Musical Movie, the one DVD movie that on TV, 1 hour show episode that we got from the original Blues Clues, and I was blown away by his voice, to say the least. That aside, next question. Favorite Blues Clues character?
I would definitely have to say us, the viewer. The only reason I say that is because we have a say in what goes on around the house half of the time. Half the time we know what's best, and we know where the clues are. We know, what yellow and red mix together to make. We know what happens when Blue knocks over the dominoes. We can predict what's happening on the patio, that sort of thing. We get to experience all of the clue happening shenanigans that happen each and every episode, and we get a part of it. We get to have a say and be a part of it. It's so amazing how charming the show does with its interactivity. And that's another reason too, is because the creators and the writers and the directors have every little thing in place, with the 3-beat pause, with the questions, with the tone of voices, everything. They have everything down pat for interactivity with the show.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Alright, last question. Favorite notebook?
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you mean, whose host's notebook is my favorite, or favorite notebook variant?
Favorite notebook variant, and I guess since you mentioned it, favorite notebook from one of the hosts.
Steve's notebook, 100%, and I'll have to give it a close second to Josh's notebook, because I love what they're doing with the phone. In terms of favorite notebook variant, I would most definitely have to go with... That's actually a great question. It's a two-way tie between the Holiday Notebook and the Nature Notebook.
Ooh, that is a tough one. Yeah, I know they're both actually pretty good, really.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm starting to get into building prop notebooks myself. If you've been a part of my following for a while, you probably know this. I've got a prop replica accurate notebook from season 3, almost perfected. I just have to reprint covers because the covers got completely messed, and I didn't like the way the covers were placed on them in the first place. So I got to figure out the printing on my printer once again, now that I got new ink.
Ah, gotcha. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. And that's all, man. That's all. Thank you again. So why don't you tell do you have any shout-outs before we close this out?
100%. I would like to give quite a few shout outs actually. First of all, Blue Moon Productions for getting me into voice acting for fan fiction part of the show. It's been fantastic working with all of you, and I really hope we can get to working on productions again. And another big shout out as well within the Blues Clues community to not only Diddlebox's Blues Clues News Discord server, but also Domeless Engine and the backstage of Blues Clues server. All the members within it. Invites are closed, by the way, if you're wondering. These are some fantastic people within the community who are coming together, and we're working out clues together about what new episodes are happening, what new things are happening, what's happening with the clues, man. You know, it's just fantastic. And going behind the scenes of the show too, you know, looking into certain things like how notebooks are made or how this effect was done, how the heck is Steve flying, you know what I mean? It's just absolutely insane how many things went into the show and how many things we're finding out now about the show, both the original and the reboot, and Room as well, I gotta say. And one more shout out that I'd like to give too is to Nick's 3 Archives, owned and run by a couple of different people, including the one and only CDCB himself. With help from them, we wouldn't have dated as many marathons as we could have from the Blues Big Monday through Friday saga, as well as Blues Thank You Monday. And I wouldn't have been able to have dated my April 21st, 1998 tape, my prized possession, thanks to them as well.
I see. Well, I guess since I'm also here, I guess I should give a couple other shout outs to a few other people too. Big shout out to Backstage at Blues Clues, who is one of probably the coolest people I've met. He is literally one of the most investigative Twitter followers I follow, and one of the biggest Blues Clues fans. Also, big shout out to Mina M. Toon on Twitter, who's also another big Blues Clues fan, and Jessica M. Cotney. I think that I said that right. She is one of the biggest Leo Stitch fans and biggest Blues Clues fan and biggest My Little Pony fan I know. So she is awesome. She's excellent. She is the most beautifulest young lady I've seen that I know that loves all those shows. So please give them both a follow. And a shout out to you and Doodlebox as well for being just really members of the community and just really loving Blues Clues as much as I do. So thanks.
Definitely well said.
Alright, well, where can the fans find you, man?
They can find me on YouTube as, well, actually, on plenty of different platforms. On YouTube as ThatGuyWalkingBy or GamerGuy624. On Twitter as @official TGWB. On Instagram as ThatGuyWalkingBy as well. And on Discord as ThatGuyWalkingBy. You'll have to message me for an invite.
Gotcha. Alright. Well, thank you again for having this interview with me, man. And thank you guys for watching this one as well. I really enjoyed interviewing a fellow Blues Clues fan. Hopefully we can get a couple more on this, because it is Blues Clues' 25th anniversary, and I would love to get a few more people on here to talk about their history with the show and how it's impacted their lives as well. Because Blues really been the biggest influence on us, and if there's one thing I would always say at the end of the show, and that I've carried with me, it's you can do anything that you want to do, and that's definitely something I'm going to continue to hold to my heart no matter what, even after Blues Clues and You is officially done. So thanks, Blue, I guess, if you ever watch this, Terry. But yeah, that's all for now, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll leave a link in the description below to everybody I shouted out, me and That Guy Walking By shouted out, and well, actually, you know, I think we should do the So Long song to close this out, shall we?
Oh, yes, we should. Well, now it's time for So Long.
But we'll sing just one more song.
Well, thanks for doing your part. You sure are smart.
You know, with me and you, our friends and Blue,
we can do anything that we wanna do.
Bye, guys. See ya.
See you later.